Are you struggling to make your Pinterest pin stand out with no clicks back to your website? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving deep into the anatomy of a perfect pin. And trust me, once you've mastered these tips, your pins will be turning heads like never before. I walk you through the what and why of a perfect pin and show you 8 extremely powerful strategies, including a secret technique that's guaranteed to make your pins pop. By mastering these 8 game-changing strategies, you'll not only create the ultimate clickable pin, but also drive tons of traffic back to your website and skyrocket your online presence. So are you ready to do this? Then let's dive right in. Let's start this video by thinking through what a pin really is, because there are beautiful photography pins out there that can be seen as the perfect pin. But these photo-only pins work more as inspirational or aspirational rather than actually growing your business. So when I talk about the perfect pin today, I want you to think about a pin that has a purpose and a clear goal, which is getting clicks and driving traffic to your website. Now, why is that important? There are many actions you can take with a pin, right? People can comment, they can like if it's a video pin, maybe they are planning something for the future, so they can save your pin to one of their boards, or they can take action and click your pin to check out your website, right? So today I want to go over the anatomy of the perfect pin that will actually get you more clicks. Saves and comments are great for engagement and do affect the algorithm in your favor. But at the end of the day, when the journey ends with the person saving that pin, but not checking out your site, it's not really that valuable for your business. Do you agree? So I've sat down and really thought about what are the factors that are making a pin clickable, so that you can take those guidelines and apply them to your pins as well. And just so we are on the same page, Pinterest is part science and part art, and you can't control art. There is no exact measure of how good a piece of art is or how effective it will be in engaging people and getting them to click over to your site. So please keep that in mind. There are factors we can see from data that indicate this is working for getting more clicks, but then there's also the art part, the creative part we can't control, and just have to figure out for ourselves and our business what is working. So if you feel really stressed when you design pins, just think about that it's art, and art is subjective. And your designs may just be what people resonate with and waited for. So now that that's out of the way, I've got 8 design tips that I believe you can incorporate into your designs to create the perfect Pinterest pin. So if you're ready, let's do this. The first tip on how to create the perfect pin has nothing to do with design, but everything to do with your audience. Did you know that you could have 1,000 clicks on your Pinterest pin, but it still wouldn't grow your business? If you want to use your pins to grow your business, first off, you need to create relevant and intentional pins that address the pain points of your audience. If you're creating the perfect pin with beautiful photography, amazing text, and a call to action, but then they land on your page and what they learn doesn't relate to what you do in your business, then at the end of the day, it's bringing you 0 closer to your dream life. So the first and most important step whenever you design pins for traffic and business growth is to connect your business to your audience. So how can you do that? We want to find that sweet spot between what you sell and what your audience is interested in, or maybe what they're struggling with. Maybe you're a stylist and you do 1-hour online coaching sessions for people who want to be more fashionable or clean out their closet. So what are pin ideas that could be helpful and relevant for your audience that also connects to your business? Now, first and foremost, think about pins that are helpful or solve a problem. So for example, how to create a capsule wardrobe. Now this solves the problem what pieces to get and how it works. Or 10 outfit pieces everyone should have in their closet. This solves the problem of style guidelines to follow, things that don't suit you. So the first tip in creating the perfect Pinterest pin is to think about your audience and their struggles. Then on your pin, you communicate how you can help them solve that problem or show what's possible. Moving on to the next tip, which is that I recommend you create mainly vertical pins. This is an unpopular opinion, but just repurposing random Instagram posts or YouTube thumbnails to Pinterest won't grow your business. If you're sharing your short, horizontal, or square images, you are missing out on a huge chunk of traffic. The Pinterest home feed is designed vertically, meaning that you can basically scroll downwards on your phone or desktop and it would never stop. But because it is designed like this, when you look at the pin sizes that show up here, a pin that is vertical takes up way more space than a pin that is square or horizontal. Just look at this. this here. Now, it's a pretty simple concept. Like vertical images just take up more room. They show up larger, and like with a billboard, you just have a better chance for people to stop scrolling and see your pin. Okay, but how tall should or can pins really be? Like if we want to max out our chances, right? Now, it used to be that you could create this super long infographic pin that just kept going and going, but eventually Pinterest caught on to that. So that's not possible anymore. Now, Pinterest recommends a pin aspect ratio of 2:3, which is, for example, 1000 by 1500 pixels. They say that pins with an aspect ratio of greater than 2:3 might cut off in people's feeds. So if you want to be safe so that everyone on every device sees the entire pin, I would go with this. Now, I personally like to live a bit more on the edge. I do create pins that are a bit longer, and I've seen them not get cut off. Like, I don't make them crazy long, but just a bit more so they stand out compared to the 2:3 pins. So here's an example. This pin is 1000 times 2000 pixels. So when you compare that to the 2:3, it is significantly larger. But again, when it comes to designing the perfect pin, it's not about finding the exact sweet spot in pixels. It's about leveraging the vertical format. Remember to create vertical pins so they show up larger on the smart feed. Now, before I move on to the next tip, if you want to learn more about how to upload pins and post to Pinterest, make sure to grab my free beginner's guide on 3 ways how to upload pins to Pinterest for business. This guide will walk you through all the ways you can save your content to Pinterest and helps you save hours every week. Make sure you click the link in the description box below. And now with that out of the way, let's move on to my next tip on how to create the perfect clickable pin. The next tip I have for you is to use text overlay on your design. Do you want to know how I went from getting 1 or 2 random clicks to my website from Pinterest to getting hundreds of clicks to my blog every single day? Then this is it. Pins without text can be beautiful and can get tons and tons of saves. But like I mentioned in the very first tip, at the end of the day, saves or likes are not growing your business. You want to communicate a clear message on your pin that you can help this person solve a problem or get a quick win. And you can do that by adding text overlay on a pin image. And yes, people read text on pins. So here's what you need to know. Well, first of all, I usually use the title or subtitle of my blog post on my pin. So in the background, I would use a relevant image or graphic. And then in the front, in bold, I would add my blog post title or landing page title that communicates exactly what someone gets when clicking over to my site. You can also promote your product or course or a free gift. It doesn't have to be a blog post. Just make sure what you are saying on the pin connects to what you're doing in your business. So do not talk about how to deal with toddler tantrums when your business is about dog training. Makes sense, right? Second, use really bold and easy to read fonts. Something like Railway is like really easy to scan. If you have a look at the feed, this pin is fine to read when you go into the close-up mode. But you can see how hard it is to read when we have the feed view. About 60 to 70% of your audience will see your pins using their phones. So that's even smaller. So make sure you use fonts that are easy to read and then really don't be afraid to make your text really big. Make the text as big as possible while making sure it still looks good in like design terms. And third, make sure that there is a high contrast between the text and image behind. Again, this makes the text stand out more and it's easier to read. I design all my pins inside Canva and you have many options to achieve this. First, I like to use contrast, so choose a font color that stands out. You can easily test out different fonts and see how they work with the background, right? Or use a background element like a box so that the text is super easy to read. Or you could add a color background and make it like transparent. This is another great way to make the text stand out, but still showcase your image or photography. Now, I hope you're getting value from this video. Let me know in the comments if you do. The next tip on how to create the perfect Pinterest pin has to do with the images, graphics, or the photography you use in your pin. Did you know that the Pinterest algorithm can scan the images on your pin and basically understand what is on the image? But even more crazy is that it checks whether the image is relevant to what your text says on the description and the title and so on. So it scans your pin design and says, hey, this image you used on your pin makes sense for what you're saying. So having an image that is relevant to your pin text and blog post is actually relevant for the algorithm. Crazy, right? So here's what you need to know. Pinterest is a visual search engine, and Pinterest has one of the most advanced image recognition softwares on the planet. So basically it looks at your pin and then identifies what is on it. It then creates like a collection of other images on Pinterest that fall into the same category of that image. And you can even search for images like that if you use their lens feature. Now, what does that mean for you and your design? Well, I see a lot of pins using images that are not relevant to what their text is saying on the pin or what their underlying blog post or product is saying. Now, I believe your pins can be 100 times better if you use an image that is related to what you talk about. So let's make some examples. If you're a travel blogger, make sure you're using your travel photos, but more specifically, if you're talking about the 10 best waterfall spots on Maui, use a photo of a waterfall and not a sunset on Maui, right? Or let's say you're a financial consultant and you help people get out of debt. Then use stock photos that include money or people feeling emotional or frustrated, or use a computer showing numbers. Make it contextual to what you're saying on that pin. Now, if you don't want to use photography, you can also use graphics or illustrations. They can work really well too. And again, I would just make sure that the graphics you use are relevant to what you're saying on the pin. And finally, I always make sure that the image is high quality. So crisp and sharp images, no blurry or pixeled images. So I don't mean that all of your images have to look like they were taken by a professional photographer. I really don't. Your images can actually be a lot more relatable if you took them yourself with your phone, but they should be large enough and have a high quality. Now, the next tip I have for you is to use a call to action, a CTA. Unpopular opinion. Did you know that I would take a click over a follow on Pinterest any day? I really don't care about how many followers I have on Pinterest, and so shouldn't you. At the end of the day, I want people to take action with my pin, ideally with a click or at least a save for later. It's not about the like or follow on Pinterest, all about the click. But how can you get people to actually click on your pin? So it's been proven that you can significantly increase your click-through rate by letting people know exactly what you want them to do next. So when you want people to click on your pin, let them know, click here to learn more. Or if it's a video you're promoting, you could say, click to watch the full tutorial. Your call to action should be easy to read. Like, I wouldn't make it as big as your main title, but still easy to read. I also love to add a background box behind it so it actually looks like a clickable button. It's a subconscious thing, but it actually has been shown to work. Other call to actions you could use are save for later, comment below, read now, learn more, buy now. If you're leading straight to your offer, share with a friend. Like 80% of the time, I will use some variation of click now or click here or learn more. On to my next tip. Let's switch gears from design to your pin title. Your pin title actually shows up next to your pin image, and it's a crucial element of every successful pin. Want to know something crazy? I used to spend hours designing my pins, but then no time at all on writing an engaging pin title. Did you know that not only does your pin title help you get more clicks, it's also one of the most important factors for the algorithm to rank your pin. The pin title helps the algorithm to figure out what your pin is all about and if Pinterest should show your pin high up in the search feed. Check out this video here if you want to learn more about Pinterest SEO and how to rank in search, but your title is crucial. There are two important things when it comes to your title. First of all, your title should be enticing for people to click on. So what they get in return for exiting Pinterest and coming to your blog or website. So that's why I love to use like helpful posts like how-tos or lists that actually solve a problem and you can follow up with your services or products. Second, your title is one of the best places to add relevant keywords. A keyword can be a single word like gardening or a few words forming a sentence like flower pot planting tips. I recommend you come up with a list of the most relevant keywords for your business. You can use tools like trends.pinterest.com to figure out keywords people actually search for in your niche. And then you want to try to use these keywords in your title as naturally as possible. So for this example, a great title could be 7 easy flower planting tips for beginners. It's helpful because the person clicking over gets 7 tips how to get started. It feels manageable because it's a short list. and it actually solves the problem if you're new to gardening and planting flowers. You could then follow up with your paid planting or gardening guide. If you're struggling with this, an easy place to start is to use the title of your blog post or a subheading. The next tip is to leverage your description. Are you having trouble with pin descriptions that actually get people to click over or buy your product? Then I believe this should solve your problem. Your pin description has a couple of different important tasks. First of all, there are people who will look at your pin title and immediately jump over to your website. But then there's also other people who may want to know a few more things about what they get if they do click over. So in your pin description, you can address those people and go into more details about what the underlying content will be about and how it can help. So you can start by saying, in this post, you're going to learn XYZ, or in this post, I'm sharing my secret strategies of how to XYZ, or get the 7 easy tips that helped me do XYZ. This product helped me do XYZ. The second very important purpose of your pin description is again to add additional keywords for the algorithm. We've talked about this in the previous tip, but in your pin title, you only can add and should include the most important keyword. In your descriptions, you have more space to include additional keywords naturally. You want to add high volume keywords, but also keyword variations. So other ways of saying the same things. So we had the example of the 7 easy flower planting tips for beginners, right? So the keyword was flower planting tips. What are other ways of saying the same thing? So for example, flower planting guide, or how to grow plants, or how to plant bulbs, or flower farming. We want to cover different search terms people are typing in, so we show up in multiple search feeds and address different people. So here's an easy pin description formula you can use. Start with a short hook, continue with the benefit of what they get, so what's in it for them when they click over. Try to add in keywords naturally. If you can't add keywords in naturally, but you really want to include them, then add a line and list of keywords, like 1 or 2 at the end. And then finally, finish off with a call to action, such as click now or learn more. Moving on with my next tip for creating the perfect Pinterest pin, which is not to forget about the underlying information or the source. Don't you love it when you finally find that cute outfit on Pinterest and you click over and you land on a spammy site wanting to sell you supplements on how to lose weight? Yep, this happened to me more than once. So don't you agree? A pin leading to nowhere or a spam site is not the perfect pin. When you click a link and it leads to the wrong page or wrong information, a 404 page, or even worse, to someone else's page, that is really frustrating. Like if I finally find the information I want and I decide to act on it, I don't want to waste my time reading about cat toys when the pin promoting was how to brew coffee at home. Like I don't even want to go to the homepage of that person and then have to aimlessly scroll their blog to find the information on the pin. If you're using Pinterest for business, make sure you always think about the journey this person is taking, from like first searching a keyword on Pinterest to discovering the pin and then getting the solution inside of their content. So here are things you can do to reduce friction so people don't jump off and leave your content, but instead become raving fans that ultimately buy your products or services. Okay, so first of all, make sure you are linking to the exact blog post or product you talk about on your pin. So if you have the 7 breastfeeding tips for new moms, then link to that exact post and not your homepage. Second, if that landing page or blog post doesn't exist anymore because you deleted that post or it's no longer relevant or available, then link to another better or new post. Make sure to redirect from that non-existing page to the new one. You can do that using free WordPress plugins. So you can change the link on your pins once they're out. And finally, don't promise wrong things on your pins. If you don't have a free gift in your blog post, then don't promise one. Or if you cover 3 tips in your post, then don't promise 7 on your pins. Like, just be honest and transparent about what you deliver. Okay, so far I've shared my best tips on how to design pins that people click on and grow your business. But I haven't talked about how to actually create the pins and share them on Pinterest. So make sure to watch this video here where I share 3 ways how to post on Pinterest to grow your business. Now that was it from me for today. I hope you know now exactly how to design the perfect pin that grows your audience and your business on Pinterest. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Katie and I will see you in my next video. Cheers!